The 39th President of the United States of America, Jimmy Carter, has died at the age of 100. Good morning and welcome. You're watching the Breakfast Rundown on TV1. I'm Therunee Karunaratne. We're coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. This morning on the Breakfast Rundown, we will be looking into the life and services rendered during his tenure by 39th President of the US, Jimmy Carter, who passed away early today. And in local news, we have an important development regarding next year's electricity tariff revisions, as well as what advice health authorities have to give the general public with regard to the hot weather conditions that are being experienced, and also several other local stories. And also in news overseas, we have one of the latest developments concerning the tragic plane crash, the Azerbaijani plane crash that occurred recently. Stay tuned with us. We have all the news in detail. Let's move on to our top story for this morning, which is, of course, the death of 39th US President Jimmy Carter. The honest Georgia peanut farmer who, as US President, struggled with a bad economy and the Iran hostage crisis, but brokered peace between Israel and Egypt and later received the Nobel Peace Prize for his humanitarian work, died at his home in Plains, Georgia on Sunday. Jimmy Carter was 100 years old at the time of his demise. A Democrat who served as president from January 1977 to January 1981 after defeating incumbent Republican President Gerald Ford in the 1976 U.S. election. Carter was swept from office 4 years later in an electoral landslide as voters embraced Republican challenger Ronald Reagan, the former actor as well as California governor. Carter lived longer after his term in office than any other U.S. president. Along the way, he earned a reputation as a better former president than he was a president, a status he readily acknowledged as well. His one-term presidency was marked by the highs of the 1978 Camp David Accords between Israel and Egypt, bringing some stability to the Middle East. But it was dogged by an economy in recession, persistent unpopularity, and the embarrassment of the Iran hostage crisis that consumed his final 444 days in office. In the recent years, Carter had experienced several health conditions, including melanoma that spread to his liver and brain. Carter decided to receive hospice care in February 2023 instead of undergoing additional medical intervention. His wife, Rosalind Carter, died on the 19th of November 2023 at the age of 96. Let's move on to local news for this morning. This morning, our top local story is an important development with regards to next year's electricity tariff revision. The Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka says that the final decision regarding the electricity tariff revision will be announced on the 17th of January 2025. The Commission says that the process of gathering public feedback is currently underway. Today, public feedback is being gathered in the Uva province. From the 3rd of January onwards, public feedback will be gathered from other provinces as well. The Commission confirms that the final decision in this regard will be announced on the 17th of January 2025. We also have a series of weather-related updates this morning. Now, last night with heavy rainfall, several roads in Galle were inundated. The Galle-Buckvalla main road was flooded in front of the Galle police station. The Galle-Mapalagama main road was submerged in the areas of Kungahahandia, Sarentukade and Thanipulgaha. The Galle-Baddegama main road, meanwhile, was flooded in the areas of Talapitia and Beligaha. Meanwhile, the Agricultural and Agrarian Insurance Board has announced that the crop damage assessment for the Yalla season will conclude today. The board says that the damage assessments in the districts of Polonnaruwa, Vaunia, Mulathu, Mana, Batiklo and Ampara have already been completed. These crop damage assessments, which are being conducted with the assistance of the Department of Agricultural Development, is focused on the damage caused due to the recent flooding. The Agricultural and Agrarian Insurance Board adds that approximately 80,000 acres of farmland were identified as damaged in the floods that occurred in November. Now, after finalizing these reports, the compensation payments are expected to begin promptly. Now, in the light of current hot weather conditions, Sri Lankan health authorities are advising the general public to avoid exposure to direct sunlight. Deputy Director General of Health Services, Dr. G. Vijay Surya, says that the consumption of more fluids is important in order to prevent dehydration. He adds that it is important, especially for school children and elders, to stay away from direct sunlight. Dr. G. Vijay Surya advises those engaging in outdoor activities to take adequate breaks in between and consume sufficient amounts of fluids right throughout. Let's move on to your weather update for this morning. According to the Met Department, showery weather conditions are expected to enhance to some extent over the northern, north central, eastern and Ubud provinces from today for the next few days. Showers or thunder showers may occur at times in the northern, north central, eastern and Ubud provinces and in the Martale district as well. Fairly heavy showers above 75 millimeters can be expected at some places in these areas. Now, showers or thunder showers will occur at several places elsewhere during the afternoon or night. Fairly heavy showers about 75 millimeters can be expected at some places in the western, Sabaragamuwa and southern provinces. Fairly strong winds of about 30 to 35 kilometers per hour can be expected at times over the northern, eastern and north central provinces. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in the western, Sabaragamuwa, central and southern provinces during the morning hours as well. And as always, the general public is advised to take adequate precautions to minimize temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers. Well, the dates for the payment of pensions in the upcoming year have also been announced. Now, this was revealed in a circular issued under the signature of the Director General of Pensions, Jagat Dias. Pensions for the months of January, February, March, September, October, November and December will be paid by the 10th of those months. Pensions for the months of April, May, June and July will be paid by the 9th of that month. And the payments of pensions for the month of August will be made on the 7th of that month as stated in the circular. Meanwhile, health authorities advise the general public to take measures to minimize the risks of fire hazards in the upcoming new year. Consultant Community Physician of the Non-Communicable Disease Unit of the Ministry of Health, Dr. Samita Siritunga, says that both children and adults should be extra cautious when handling fireworks. He adds that the general public also need to consider the harmful effects that fireworks have on animals in surrounding areas and act to ensure their safety as well. Well, we also have another international news item coming in this morning. It comes in from Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan's President Ilham Aliyev said on Sunday that the Azerbaijani airliner that crashed last week was shot down by Russia, albeit unintentionally, and criticized Moscow for trying to hush up the issue for many days. Aliyev said that the airliner, which crashed on Wednesday in Kazakhstan, was hit by fire from the ground over Russia and quote-unquote rendered uncontrollable by electronic warfare. Aliyev accused Russia of trying to hush up this issue for several days, saying he was upset and surprised by versions of events put forward by the Russian officials. Now, this crash killed 38 of 67 people who were on board at that time. The Kremlin said that air defense systems were firing near Grozny, the regional capital of the Russian Republic of Chechnya, which the plane attempted to land to deflect a Ukrainian drone strike. Aliyev said Azerbaijan made 3 demands to Russia in connection with this crash. Aliyev noted that the first demand was already fulfilled when Russian President Vladimir Putin apologized to him on Saturday. Putin called the crash a tragic incident, although he stopped short of acknowledging Moscow's responsibility. He said that an investigation into the crash was ongoing and that the final version of events will be known after the black boxes are opened. He noted that Azerbaijan was always in favor of a group of international experts investigating the crash and had categorically refused Russia's suggestion that the Interstate Aviation Committee, which oversees civil aviation in the Commonwealth of Independent States, investigate it. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told Russian state media on Sunday that Putin had spoken to Aliyev over the phone again, but did not provide details on this conversation. The Kremlin also has said a joint investigation by Russia, Azerbaijan and Kazakhstan was underway at the crash site near the city of Aktau in Kazakhstan. The plane was flying from Azerbaijan's capital Baku to Grozny when it turned toward Kazakhstan, hundreds of kilometers across the Caspian Sea from its intended destination, and crashed while making an attempt to land. Well, that's a wrap of this morning's edition of the Breakfast Rundown. I'm Therunee Karunaratne. Do join us once again at 7 a.m. on TV1 tomorrow as well. Until then, take care. Have a wonderful day ahead.